swimming coach who has faced multiple abuse allegations. There were a lot of similarities between Gibney and McLean, he said. These people get into positions of power, and they prop themselves up by helping the people around them, using their reputation to deflect allegations, he said. Yeah, exactly. They use their reputations, they use their connections, they use blackmail, they use the fact that a lot of them are into this same twisted lifestyle, if you want to call it that. They're pedophiles. This is their thing, and they bring in other pedophiles into the sort of system, and then they all have each other's backs. It's like a Mexican firing squad, but I think after a while, it just becomes the accepted norm of their subculture. And these people paid the price for some reason. Maybe they knew too many secrets. Maybe this boy had been being abused. Maybe these guys were going to help. I don't know the story. Maybe those guys were abusers themselves. I don't tend to think so. And it's just odd that William and Kate were there for that period of time when most of that went on. Because as I've said before in my other videos, Hillary Clinton happened to be in Hawaii when that phony ballistic missile warning was sent to everybody's cell phones. It didn't appear to be a joke. A real emergency alert caused false panic. Hillary Clinton was there when that happened. John Podesta was in New Zealand 5 days before that big mosque shooting, which changed the way New Zealand operated in a big way. Michelle Obama was in a boat on the Seine River as Notre Dame burned in France in April 2019. Nancy Pelosi happened to be in Northern Ireland, in Londonderry, on April 19th, 2019, when a riot broke out, which looks completely fake to me. I don't know about fake, but just overblown and ridiculous. And journalist Lyra McKee was there covering this incident, and she happens to get shot. It looked like a targeted killing. Guess what Lyra McKee was writing a book about at that time? The Lost Boys, the boys who went missing in Northern Ireland during Ireland's Troubles period with the IRA. And then she gets assassinated? And Nancy Pelosi happens to be right there in the city? It's pretty bizarre. Samantha Power was in Sri Lanka telling them they needed to change their internet to censor it more right before the series of terrorist bombings broke out in Sri Lanka. In case you don't know who Samantha Power is, by the way, she's married to Cass Sunstein, who wrote this. He used to be Obama's information czar, and he wants to put an end to conspiracy theories by either taxing them or, I forget. He definitely wants to counter the narrative online, and we see that happening all over the place, don't we? People who are saying things like I'm saying right now are getting called names, harassed, kicked off their payment processors, kicked off social media, trolled, followed, discredited, and the counter narrative is everywhere. All right, let's move on. While William and Kate were in Dublin, they also went to a nearby charity called Savannah House. It's run by a larger charity called Extern, which if you look into it, their board of directors and advisors are all people working for business research. They're in finance, they're in electrical engineering, banking, government, sports. Two or three of them are from Queen's University Belfast. And the CEO doesn't name a single organization at which he previously worked before going to Extern. He was basically a community organizer type guy, like Obama was before he became president of the United States. Savannah House, incidentally, is a respite facility which provides overnight stays to young people who are already availing of Extern services, which means that Extern knows they have troubled families, or they're going through this gender transition, or they have addiction issues. So it provides overnight stays to troubled youth, Interesting. It says it's welcomed over 2,500 children from across Ireland, and that's where Kate and William went when they were in Ireland while all these people were being killed. While all these people were dying mysteriously. I shouldn't say being killed. They were dying unexpectedly elsewhere. This is not from that trip. This is a different picture of Prince William in Roscoe House, which is the one that's in Northern Ireland, not in Dublin. And it's in Derry, Londonderry, which is where Nancy Pelosi was when Lyra McKee got shot and killed. What else do I know here? Yes, I just want to point out that when I Googled Extern, which is the name of the company overseeing Savannah House, when I Googled Extern scandal, this article came up, although it does not mention Extern, but let me just read what it says. Northern Ireland youth worker, 50, accused of raping transgender teen. This is from December 2019. A Crown lawyer said the case involved a transgender child aged 14 who now identifies as male. It was claimed the accused got to know the teenager, referred to as XY, through his work at a children's residential facility. Now, this is badly worded, at a children's residential facilities. So I don't know if maybe they had the name of the facility in there at one time, and then they were told by the editorial staff to take it out and just make it generic. It's possible that Extern was named here because that's what came up in a Google search, right? For Extern, right near the top. I didn't have to search and search. So maybe they changed it to cover for the actual company. I don't know. It says the County Londonderry man who also faces historical charges of molesting his own son cannot be named for legal reasons. The charges were from January 2000 and December 2003. You see this on the last line? This is incredibly shocking. So they've known this man is a child predator since at least the year 2000. They obviously haven't cleared up the charges that were brought for him. Charges were buggery on his son, his own son. And then they let him work with youth, troubled youth. And they don't even name him, ostensibly to protect the identity of his young underage son. This sounds like such a scam to me. We have this in Canada too. We never name perpetrators if they hurt children because we might risk identifying the children. I think we might risk identifying the adults who are still allowed to work with youth and abuse them and rape them. This is a disgusting, upside down, fake justice, fake protection of children, as it always is. As it always is. Okay. What's next here? Yes, the strange murders in that time period continue, this time over in America. U.S. police name Irish woman killed in suspected murder-suicide in Nevada, March 6th, 2020. So remember, look at this cluster of things. So there's all these deaths. And what's the deal here? Why am I including it? She's an Irish woman who was killed in a suspected murder-suicide in the U.S. city of Reno, and she's been named as Joan Huber. 53-year-old was found dead at home. We don't need to know the details. It says that on March 4th, 2020 is when she died. Okay. All right. Well, you know, the funny thing is, Chuck Schumer, right? Giving the warnings all the time about don't mess with us. We have ways to get you. You will reap the whirlwind. You won't know what hit you. The funny thing about that woman, Joan, her last name is Huber. And what was happening at the same time? John Huber was investigating all sorts of things, including Uranium One and the Clinton Foundation. And he had been working on it a long time, since November 2017. So perhaps he was ready to show some findings at that time. Who knows? But maybe these threats, maybe these deaths are actually somehow sending warnings, especially that last one, Joan Huber in Nevada. Joan Huber, by the way, is connected. It's not like she was a random woman named Joan Huber. If you look deeper into this from the news from Ireland, Ms. Huber's late father, John Kelly, was a huge figure in the Spa Killarney area of Ireland and involved in politics, the GAA, and rowing, as well as local history. Joan was the eldest of his 5 children. Her death has shocked the family and the wider community.